Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Trigby. I'm with BusyWeb. We are going to be talking about digital trends for 2018 in the 10 o'clock hour. I am just getting started now, so I am going to give it a couple of minutes to let everybody log on and get up and running. So thanks again for joining us in the Day of Digital. Hopefully Jocelyn's 9 o'clock seminar was great. The folks down at Global Vision are fantastic. So I hope you got the opportunity to enjoy that. Following me today is Diane from Cleveland. She owns a business called Seize This Day. So she's going to be talking about how to grow your business without selling. So that would be an interesting one that I am absolutely going to make sure that I attend. So we're just, I'm completely ready to go. I'm just giving everybody the opportunity to catch up and get started. So I am coming to you today from the frozen tundra of Minnesota. We are expecting a good 4 to 6 inches of snow today. So I work about 40 miles. I live about 40 miles away from the BusyWeb office. So hopefully I will be able to get back to my home sometime today. I might have to hook up a snowplow or a dog sled up to my car in order to get there. But my dog is actually only about 14 pounds, so that might be a problem for me. So if you've just joined us, thanks for joining. I'm giving everybody the opportunity to log on, so I am taking a little bit of time just to say hello and get started. So thanks again for joining us and on the Day of Digital today. So give me about just 1 minute and then we'll get started. All right, cool. Jenna at down the hall from me says that everything is working great. So thanks for that, Jenna. And looks like our viewership has sort of plateaued. So every time I do one of these, invariably what happens is I wait a couple of minutes to get everything started, and so people can log on. And then as soon as I think, okay, well now let's go ahead and get started, then a whole bunch of people jump on at that time. So I don't think there's going to be a right way to do this, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So today we're going to be talking about digital trends. There are a couple of things that have come up new on the horizon that we at BusyWeb think are important, that you should be aware of and you should be focusing on in 2018. So I'm going to go over a fair amount of those and tell you why they're important and what you can do to incorporate it into your business. So if you're not familiar with us, or if you'd like a copy of this, or if you just like to reach out because you need a friend, here is my picture and my contact information. I am the Director of Business Development at BusyWeb, and I'll tell you about BusyWeb in just a second. So if you would like to ask a question after the fact, please by all means write my name down and see, look, their viewership just jumped 6 people. If you would like a copy of this deck, or if you feel like I went too fast and you missed something important, I'd be more than happy to get back to you. Similarly, this will be automatically posted to our YouTube channel as soon as I'm done. So if you go to YouTube and search for BusyWeb, you should be able to find this presentation. So what is BusyWeb? We are a full-service digital marketing agency based in Minneapolis, St. Paul. We do everything under the sun, from creating a web presence, improving on your digital presence, figuring out what you can do to get more leads, get more sales, and ultimately grow your business. So The biggest client that we've ever worked for is a local singer here in Minneapolis. His name was Prince. He passed away recently, but we've done anything around the country to help businesses grow and really focus on how do you use the internet in order to be visible for your clients, and then also for how do you get them to do what you need to do and take the action you want to take so that your digital presence is absolutely 100% working to the positive for you. So here's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about what is the next big thing for 2018. I'm going to be talking about continual improvement in your marketing and especially on your website. Then we're going to be talking about big data mining, which is a personal favorite of mine. We're going to be talking about how you need to increase and get even more video into your marketing presence. And then we're also going to be talking about artificial intelligence. And then finally wrapping up with talking about voice marketing, which is really, really fascinating. So we're going to go ahead and get started to talk about flat marketing. So one of the great advantages of social media marketing that in the early part of this decade that businesses were able to appreciate is that social marketing basically flattened the brand landscape. So you were able to use the exact same tool as Coca-Cola and talk to your customers just as easily as that. So as a result of that, then a lot of brands saw a tremendous competitive advantage. But one of the things that sort of fell by the wayside in that was the traditional way of creating a website. And this is kind of what it looked like. There was it was known as the Waterfall Method. So you went from one group, which started in strategy, creating a design meeting, a brief, doing the initial meeting, doing competitor analysis, all that good stuff to really sort of scope out what the project needs to look like. Then you go into the planning. Where do we need to put stuff? Where does the sitemap go? Where does the design concept go? What sort of calls to action we need? Planning all that out, and then finally doing the building. So doing site production, doing website hosting, figuring out where your website hosting is, setting up the databases, testing the database website, make sure everything worked. And then you'd launch the website. And then the next group would be how to actually promote it. So just like having a store, you wouldn't want to just have a store that nobody came to. You'd have to have some signage and let people know that you're there and open. So you'd have to have an online marketing plan. You'd have to be focusing on SEO and page optimization and social media setups. That's what's known as sort of the waterfall method of creating a website, which is great. And it's been fantastic for a long time. But this is really what it looks like when all said and done. So this bottom graph right here, you can see me moving my mouse. This is kind of what it looks like when it launches. So you have this nice big bubble here, and then you kind of sit on it for a while, 1.5 to 2 years, and then you spend 3 months redesigning, and then boom, you get a big growth. And then you do another 1.5 to 2 years, and maybe even 3 years at that point, and then you automatically move into another redesign, and then boom, you see some growth. So what we've found is that this is basically a concept that isn't really applicable anymore. The reason is because the internet changes so much and there's so much competition that realistically what you need to do is have a marriage of inbound marketing, which is how you are trying to get people to look at you, marriage that with your sales, and then actually use that information in a competitive way to improve your website. So again, back here at this site launch part, what you want to do is every single month do a little bit of improvement and a little bit of growth and a little bit of growth. And ultimately what you'll get to, as you see on this graph here, the impact will be the same, but the time is significantly less. So what does this actually mean in terms of a real life concept for you? It means if you haven't updated your website in the last 12 months, then it is absolutely critical that you do so right quickly and very, very soon. If you feel like your website is just good enough and it does the job, then that's not good enough anymore in this day and age. A website should be continuously focused on its own personal growth, just like having a salesperson or having an employee. So you need to be able to have that continuing education for your website in order to continue to be impactful for your business and for your clients. So there's a big difference when you're looking at a website design or at a company's website of good versus fantastic. Those websites that are fantastic are getting leads from their website. They're getting people to engage with them. They're starting conversations with new customers, existing customers, customers that have come back to them. And that's just not going to cut it unless you're continually trying to move forward. So again, here's kind of what the old process looked like. The waterfall method. You can see there's a whole bunch of different steps that go along with that, and it just really isn't. It's time consuming, even in the best of scenarios. This is something that we have done for a long time here at BusyWeb. This methodology of building a website really takes a good 4 months at least, at the best case scenario, to do. And in this day and age, businesses really don't have 4 months to do that deep navel gazing. So I'm going to talk a little bit at the end about how we're going to change how we do business as a result of this. But the empirical lessons that you need to learn are a couple of things. Number one is, if you haven't updated your website recently, you absolutely need to. Number two is, if you're not getting leads from your website, that should be a problem for you as a business owner. Your website is that 24/7 doorway in which customers are going to be looking at you and looking for reasons to buy from you. Okay, our next big trend in digital marketing in 2018 is big data mining. This is something that is going to be a little scary to talk about and a little complicated, but hopefully you can stay with me as we go through this. So anytime that you go through and buy something online from a website, they have those tremendously long terms of service, and somewhere buried in that is how companies get to use your information. Those companies are asking for things like what you buy, how you buy, who you are, gaining information and knowledge about what you are and what you can do. Similarly, when you go to things like on Facebook, where you see quizzes that are fun, silly quizzes, like which friend from Friends are you? That's a dated reference that Jenna in my office is probably rolling her eyes at. But which person are you? Which Harry Potter character are you? Which Game of Thrones character are you? All of that, really what that is that's a personality indicator, and there's a company that's collating that information and then figuring out what you like based on the information that you give. So one of the really shocking things that came out of the 2016 election, of which there was a lot, was the idea of utilizing big data marketing in order to present the right information to those undecided voters. Everybody's heard about those voters that weren't really served, and one of the things that the Republicans did was they actually figured out how to talk to those people in a quiet way and target them in a way that nobody really knew about, nobody really saw, and as a result, there was the election win. So really what this is that, as you can see on the graph that I have here, is that it takes all of this information that is basically out there in space that people freely give and freely offer, and then utilizes that in cross purposes with personality inventories that are on Facebook. And as a result of that, big data miners can actually take that information and create a very marketable plan based on what a company's exciting wheelhouse client is. So when I say a wheelhouse client, what's that perfect client look like for you? Is it somebody who is male or female? Are they 40 to 50? Are they 50 to 60? Are they 30 to 40? How much money do they make? What are their other kinds of interests? Do they have disposable income in order to push something to buy interesting and exciting things? All of that can be compiled based on data that's just actually out in the ether and can be used for a competitive advantage. So what does that actually mean in real time? It means that what you can get from that is a much higher conversion rate for just about everything. So on a pay-per-click marketing campaign, typically a good rate of return on that is maybe 5 to 10%. If you're really, really good at it, we are really, really good at it. So most of our customers get that. But when you're marketing only to the people who you absolutely know are interested in your product and are interested in what you have to offer, then all of a sudden that 5% jumps well into the 40 to 60% range. Because you're talking and you're advertising only to the people that you know within about a 75% degree of certainty are actually wanting to buy your product. So what does that mean in terms of translating? It means you're going to get more leads. It's going to mean more conversions. It's going to mean better buyers. So I have an example that I have here about a Toyota dealership that's based in North Dakota. What they wanted to do is influence their marketplace to get 30 new sales over the next 60 days. So what they actually got was the goal was 30. They actually got 45, and they increased their real-time shoppers almost double what they expected. They got more page views. They got more goal completions, more conversions, basically more. Now, this is all really fine and good, and it should scare you a little, and it should excite you a little, as most really fun, cutting-edge things do. But here's the punchline to all this. It is very expensive. It will cost you several $1,000s a month to do this. So if you are a small business, this is something that you should be mindful of, but you should understand that there's a certain amount of table stakes it takes to get into this. Similarly, you do have to have a sales organization that can truly take on this level of care and this level of responsibility, because you are going to get flooded with leads. We have a client that we work with in the South that gets well over 100 leads a week, and they only have 3 salespeople. So those salespeople are blissfully happy, but you need to be able to have that kind of back-end support to be able to actually get the result, to work the results of the marketing effort as possible. If you don't, this really isn't a good program for you. If you're a 1 or 2 person shop, that's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if you say to yourself, man, I really want to have more leads, this is a be careful what you wish for scenario. So you want to make sure that you can actually support the effort. So big data mining is fascinating. It's going to be changing a lot in the new year. It's definitely something to keep an eye on. So one of the things that the third digital marketing trend that we're seeing this year is the continued rise of video. Most video platforms now, or most social media platforms now, have live streaming video. I'm literally live streaming on a social media platform right now as I'm talking to you. And it's a great way to entice and engage those customers that you are trying to look at you or push through the noise. Now, one of the things that I get asked a lot is, well, isn't video expensive? The answer is sort of. So video is tremendously expensive if it is a professionally shot, edited, chopped video that you're going to be using for really a mainstream purpose. If you're going to be showing it to a lot of people, showing it at a trade show, something like that, it's absolutely critical that you are that you're using it in a high level way. But for social strategies, excuse me. For a social strategy, it doesn't have to be great. So I wanted to give you some examples. One of the things that we do here at BusyWeb. So we do what we think is funny videos. Not everybody might think of it as funny videos. So we've done bad lip reading. We had everybody's kids come in and act like they were their parents for what a day at BusyWeb was like. You know, our owner Dave has done some really tremendous videos that go out in front of our newsletters and on our social strategies, and he gives an opportunity. And I share this picture of Dave mostly because it's a great example of showing the culture that we have at BusyWeb. So it doesn't all have to be completely buttoned up. It should give you the opportunity to demonstrate who you really are as people and show how you enter the world, how you deal with clients. At BusyWeb, we're a little irreverent. We're a little off center. We very much enjoy having fun and doing what we do. So we try and demonstrate that through video. So the lesson you can learn. Oh, and to be clear, Dave is not the only one who does silly things. This was a day not unlike today, where I was doing trying to lip read what Dave was saying outside of the building, looking in. And if you like to go to our YouTube channel, you should be able to see that. And it's really a hoot. So there's a picture of me trying to read Dave's lips as he's warm in his office drinking a cup of coffee. So what can you do to continue to integrate? That you don't have to have a professionally shot video, but your video absolutely needs to be authentic. It needs to tell who you are as a person. It needs to tell who your company is, show the kind of strategies and people you are, and what it really is going to be like to work with you in some capacity. Obviously, you can then translate that into other things. There's a lot of different implementations of this. One of the things that I'm a sucker for personally is I'm a sucker for store cats. So there, for instance, one of my favorite videos that I like to watch is there's a marketing company that's based in Tulsa, which of course is nowhere near the snowy confines of Minnesota where I am, and they have a store cat that lives in the office, and he steals dollars from people. So they've got one of those glass doors that has a little slot through it. If you put $1 in it, the cat will sit there and take it from you. So the cat actually makes 50 or 60 bucks a weekend working for that, and it's just a hoot to watch. So when you're building your own video, make it authentic, use it as much as possible. It doesn't have to look great, but it does have to be really who you are as a person. So next, I want to talk a little bit about artificial intelligence. This is something that is absolutely going to be on the forefront of marketing and really how we enter the world and how we act in the world on the whole moving forward. So I include this because obviously our BusyWeb's owner, his name is Dave. So this was from 2001, A Space Odyssey. So 57% of digital marketers are already using artificial intelligence. The idea behind artificial intelligence is to make decisions that are data-based driven. And I shouldn't say that, I should say that slower, that are driven based on data and analytics. So when you're trying to figure out who are those ideal customers, it shouldn't be a gut feeling. It should be based on really the actual hardcore data that you're getting, who's visiting your website, who's interacting with you on social media, what are they doing, and how are they portraying the story that you are trying to tell. Artificial intelligence can do that. There are even services that you can get and bots that can talk to you and can talk to your customers to help them make decisions. We have a bot, a very simple bot on our website that kind of just says hello, and it can we ask any questions, and are you a current customer at BusyWeb? So it's fantastic if you use it the right way. There we go. Sorry, there we go. And it's definitely something to keep in mind for the future. So I skipped ahead, so I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to voice-based marketing. So this is something that a lot of companies are starting to come out with. So if you have a device like this, or a device like this, or a device like this in your home, if you're not familiar with these are basically voice-based interactive search engines. So the idea is you say, hey, Alexa, what's the weather going to be like today? Hey, Alexa, can you play my music? Hey, Alexa, can you add things to my shopping list? Anything like that. So with any new technology, the amount of opportunities for marketing absolutely needs to be considered, because these are devices that people are using. They're an incredibly low cost. I think this middle one from Amazon is only about $40 now, and it really does work effectively. Now, there is that idea of Are they listening all the time? Can a company use that? I don't really know the answer to that, which is why I don't have one. But what I do know is that in 2017, the projection for how people are using this is that 20% of all Google searches and search engine searches are going to be done using voice-based interfaces. So this is absolutely something that is crucial to keep in mind moving forward. There's a whole lot of things that questions that are need to be asked as a result of this. Does search engine optimization strategies have to be changed? How can you tell if you are getting hit by voice-based marketing? Are you coming up on searches for Alexa or for Siri? And if not, if you are, how can you improve that so you're getting more of those? So it's definitely a technology that we absolutely need to keep an eye on because it is truly gaining market share. I wish I had more answers for you, but because this is such a developing technology, it's really hard to tell where it's going to go. But it's absolutely something that is trending upward in 2018. So those are the things that are in. What are some of the things that are out that we thought in 2017 that were going to be super cool and we needed to keep an eye on? Gated content is pretty much out at this point, where there's a hard wall, and if you have to give me your email address or some sort of piece of content in order to start working together or getting something from it, that's not really working as much as it used to. What is working is more of an inbound strategy where you're asking people small little questions and giving them good calls to action to get them to do the things that you want to do, and giving them little rewards as a result. So the concept is still in play, but not the severity of it. Inauthentic content is a big deal, especially for us because we are a content creation house as well at BusyWeb. So there are idiosyncrasies of language around this country of ours. So, you know, I live in Minnesota. So if you buy a Coca-Cola in Minnesota, it's called pop. If you go to the East Coast, it's called soda. If you go to Atlanta, it's called Coke. You know, you go to a restaurant, they say, well, what kind of Coke you want? You say, well, what do you have? They say, well, we got Pepsi Coke, we got root beer Coke, things like that. So it's important that as you are trying to show a level of authenticity for who you are, is that your content is truly authentic and speaks to the people that you are speaking to. Something as simple as the difference between a porch and a deck is different depending upon where you are in the country. So if you are hiring out your content creation, not just your curation, you need to be absolutely sure that it is using your technology, your voice in the most appropriate way. Next, VR as a marketing tool, that's really kind of out. The technology is still developing, it's coming down, and it's being used in different ways, but it's not really something that is going to continue to be an emerging market for marketing in 2018. Influencer marketing is kind of going out. The reason behind that is companies and platforms like Instagram are wanting to make much clearer the line between whether or not you are advertising or to somebody, or whether or not you are just showing something off. And if you're not familiar with influencer marketing, what that is that if you posted a picture of me with a particular product and I was telling you in a social media post how great that product was, that's an influencer marketing tool. That might be something that I might have gotten paid in order to share with my followers, which isn't that big a deal to me because I don't have that many followers. But if you have 1 to 10 million followers, all of a sudden companies and brands really want to be associated. So how are we at BusyWeb looking to change how we enter the marketplace for our clients in 2018? There's a couple of things that we are going to do to change. And I think it's important that I share with you how we're going to be changing because to work with these new trends. So number one, we want to continue to focus on meaningful metrics. And what is a meaningful metric? Well, for us, it's how many conversions does a website get? How many conversions does a campaign get? Not how many people came to a website. To me, that's the same thing as how many people drove by a billboard today. And I'll challenge you to answer that question for yourself. If you're in your office or if you're at a client meeting, what was the last billboard you saw? Do you remember what it was? If you don't, then that's not a good metric for you. So we want to continue to focus on the meaningful metrics, which are the money-making metrics for our clients. Next, we're going to be changing and going to a continual improvement for websites, because we want to continue to provide the clients and the people we build websites for with a higher level of improvement. And if that's something that you're interested in, you absolutely need to focus on it in 2018. Next, we want to avoid focusing on shiny toys, newest things. This is something that I'm particularly guilty of, because anytime something new and cool comes out, I absolutely want to have it, and I absolutely want to figure out what I can do with it. But like most grown men, I tend to get bored quickly and go on to the next thing. So we want to focus on the integrity of purpose. What's the actual business application of something, and can it really help a client grow their business and grow their market share? If the answer is yes, then we're absolutely going to be all over it. Then finally, we are going to continue to offer specific personalized inbound marketing plans, not just what we think should be pulled off the shelf and added to a client. We need to focus on what's going to be the best for the client. How much of a particular lever do we need to pull in order to be successful? So what we're going to be offering is a concertina of plans, a lot of different things working together in order to achieve goals. Because ultimately, the important thing is achieving the goals, not how successful a particular thing was in one particular category. The only category that really means anything if you're a client or a prospective client is how much more money did you make as a result of your marketing. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. So one last thing I wanted to share with you before I'm going to give you a little bit of a bio break, give you the opportunity to check your email before Diane comes on at 11, is we have a tool that's available on our website. It's at busyweb.com/buzz. It's a no-cost website audit. If you're not sure where your website is, how well it's performing for you, it takes about a minute to run. Check it out, and it gives you about 12 pages of really good information and things you can improve on to focus on in 2018. It's absolutely free. You might get a call from me to say, hey, how was it? Was it helpful? But I definitely want to give you that gift to as you're starting your 2018. Again, my name is Trygve. I'm the Business Development Director here at BusyWeb. If you're interested in chatting with me, this is how you get a hold of me, trygve@busyweb.com. You can also call me at 612-424-9990. But thanks for joining me. Thanks for sticking with me as long as you did. And if you're interested in talking or need anything from me, please feel free and reach out. But otherwise, thanks for listening, and please enjoy the rest of your day of digital. Diane will be up at 11. Thanks, everybody.